You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Podcast Network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com. You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome, everybody, to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast on the We Are Libertarians Network. This is episode 18 of the Boss Hog of Liberty. I'm your host, Jeremiah Morrell. As always, I am joined by our co-host, Dakota Davis. Our show is about our lives in rural Indiana. It's a show about folks who are involved in politics. We promise that our episode is going to be fun and easy listen. We're going to interview all kinds of influential people. Today, we are joined by a guest from a previous episode. Episode 7 was Clay Morgan, and he's back again. Welcome, sir.
Hey, glad to be here. Appreciate you guys asking me back.
Thank you very much. So Clay is was on our highest listened episode, Dakota, in the history of the show.
What is up with that? Episode number 7, Clay was on. We have watched a couple of them come pretty close. Yeah. They've climbed up there, but it seems like every time one of them gets close, somebody has to go back and re-listen to yours.
Somebody goes back in time and checks back in on you.
So, do you have the login information for our Fireside account? Are you watching that?
No comment.
He just plays.
No
it's
comment.
It's on a boot loop in the MVP Barber Shop.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I think it's because you have in the title there's something about Abraham Lincoln being a war criminal.
Well, he is.
So I think that's that's what draws people.
Abraham Lincoln war criminal.
So on the last episode, you cut a commercial in here. I'm sure that
we did.
You had a lot of heads to cut after that, or people that mentioned
kidding.
it.
You are not kidding.
There have been times I've gone in there since the commercial aired and had to come back at a later day because it's so crowded.
No, this is true.
It's so you and I had a conversation maybe 2 months ago. You said since one point in time, I don't know what the change was, but it's been nonstop. You've been busier. You don't sit down. You don't get breaks.
You know, now that you bring it up, I think it was all due to that.
There's
commercial.
a real correlation.
I really think so.
So we have another sponsor of sorts today. Of course, MVP Barber Shop is the official barbershop of the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast.
Oh my gosh, I just took a bite of this donut, Jer.
But we've got the L&K Donuts, or L&K Produce Stand. Cade Koger is a listener of the K in the L&K. And Corey Koger is I guess the chief chef down there and bottle washer. He runs the show, and I've known both of them almost my entire life at this point. So there was an Instagram post today that they had these apple cider donuts, and I said, send some our way. We'll sample them. We'll give you a pitch on the show. I stopped by and saw Corey. And he sends us away with 3 slushies. I haven't tried any of these yet, but everybody else has got their mouths full. So my job is to talk at this point.
You are doing yourself a horrible injustice.
So we've got apple cider slushies, blueberry cake. They're cake donuts, I guess.
Yeah, they're donuts.
Deep fried and covered in sugar.
Oh yeah.
So they're very Indiana.
If you have heard the crunching, it's from all the sugar that's on the outside. So good.
And then we've got the apple cider donuts as well. So I'm going to try to host the show and have a donut along the way here. Everybody else is plowing through them. And there's only 3 of us, and they sent us with a dozen. So I didn't have to cook dinner tonight. We're set. It looks good. Our chances are good of having a...
The only thing we need now is some Lee's Famous Recipe chicken.
They're not an official sponsor.
The perfect Newcastle meal. Applesauce donuts and some fried chicken and Bud Light.
I will say that Clay is significantly underdressed. I visited with him yesterday at the Henry County Courthouse, and he was in his shirt and tie, looking very proper. And now he's back down to his barbering clothes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You've just got the one suit, so it comes out once a month at 3 o'clock.
Exactly.
Oh man! So Dakota and I, it feels like we haven't seen each other in days now. We spent the weekend, almost every waking moment of the last weekend again, and into the next day together.
Yeah, it was the last couple of days have been calm compared to how the weekend was. If you haven't met Jeremiah Morrell, he is a nonstop He's like a rat on acid, just constantly going, constantly moving, which is fine. It makes for really good content for the show. It also makes for just a good time. We have a pretty good time.
I feel like I like my naps, though. You say I'm constantly moving, but
you're. I've never seen you sleep.
No, you've just dreamt about me.
That's probably. Yeah, I was going to say that's probably a good thing.
I've watched you sleep, though.
I've slept in your house. I've slept in your house and never seen you sleep.
Yeah.
You've been there when I've gone to sleep, and you have been there whenever I woke up.
That sounds special.
Yeah.
You're always there for me, Jer.
Always there for you, Dakota. So we spent the weekend. This is literally like I have been nonstop since Friday. Friday night, my brother's girlfriend was having her going away deal. She was going to Chicago, so I had a bunch of people over to the house, and she was going back to grad school.
I was one of those people.
Dakota had stopped by as well. Dakota and Audrey. My mom was making a nice dinner, and I took a picture of it, sent it to Dakota and Audrey, and I'm like, hey, my mom's not Italian, but she's made way too much Italian food. There's no way we're going to eat all of this. So I said, just bring your appetites and come on over, because we were going to go bowling. This is 2 weeks in a row we've decided we're going bowling together, and they had what used to be Rockin' Bowl. Did you remember Rockin' Bowl, the Rose Bowl here in Newcastle?
Done it a few times. Yep.
So it used to be like there was a Christian rock night and then like a harder rock night.
Yep.
Now on the Friday night it's cosmic bowling. So they turn the lights off, and it wasn't the rock music that I was looking for. It was some of it was the older rock, but some was
a lot of it was like modern pop music. Yeah. Basically, you turn the radio station to 95.5, and that's what you got. Am I
95.5 would be country in our market here. Yep. That's WFMS.
I'm thinking 99.5.
WZPL.
Yep, WZPL.
If we're promoting, I just had a blueberry donut, by the way.
Yeah, that is
this
incredible,
is phenomenal,
isn't it?
Those should be there should be like some sort of a county sin tax to pay for the roads.
We'll be working on that.
Yeah.
I
know there's a handful of people in county government that'll take that seriously.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
The blueberry one was the first one I had.
That's the first bite I had.
Awesome.
It was tremendous.
I'm so glad I saved it for a second, because it was like this perfect build-up into like an explosion of flavor. It was so good.
It feels early though. It's August still, and we're having fall stuff here.
It's true. It's called school started.
I guess so.
Yeah.
It just feels like it.
State fair's over, Jer.
That's true.
It's time for fall.
So we did, going back to our story here, I really was distracted. Thank you to Corey and Cade and everybody at L&K. Stop by. They're on the north side of Newcastle. They've got their produce stand. They've got the apple donuts, the blueberry donuts. They have beef now, so you can actually do your grocery shopping down there.
I've actually had their beef patties just the other day. Stopped by, grabbed a couple packs, fried them up.
That's awesome.
Really good, actually. Really good.
Are they are they local?
I think they're theirs.
Is it their beef?
Yeah, their beef. They raise it, and they send it to the local processor, and it's tremendous. It really is good.
Can't eat more local than that, right?
No, you can't.
It is very good.
All right. So so anyway, stop by, check them out. This is good, and we're going to keep making comments, not because this is it's basically because they put food in front of us, and it's just good.
Exactly. And Kate is a customer of the MVP
Barber Shop. So it's just full circle here.
Exactly.
They support the Boss Hog of Liberty. The Boss Hog of Liberty folks come to you. And
there you go.
And then and you cut everybody's hair. You got everybody's hair. You cut all the most influential people in Newcastle's hair.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
You want to get things done, you go see Clay. He'll give you the leader's haircut and the confidence to make things happen.
Hey, there you go. When
you
you
just
leave
leave a
the
message for
MVP
somebody
Barber
down
Shop,
there.
you'll be a more valuable person.
And a more contributing member to society.
My goodness, there are standards. You have to be able to suffer through 2 or 3 hours of Glenn Beck and at any one time.
That may be true.
The blaze. That's all right. In spite of that, I just sometimes we've never cried on this show, Dakota. Glenn cries like on
I've seen
command.
You cry a few times.
Yeah,
touches my heart.
Well, at least you have one. I'm becoming more and more heartless as time goes on. So we bowled, and Dakota comes over.
Well, we bowled the week before, too.
Yeah, we did. I think we covered that. Did we cover that?
Yeah, I mean, we covered it, but, I mean, I think we covered how I spent some time at work, and I get a little bit of downtime during the day. So I'm sitting in front of my computer, and I'm like, what to do? I remember that we're going bowling that night. So I start looking up tips for beginner bowlers, tips for recreational bowlers, and it is like walking me through the steps and how you can do
visualize.
Yeah, your perfect swing without actually having a bowling ball in your hands. And I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to bowl like a 200 tonight and freak these guys out. Because there's one game the previous time that we bowled and I didn't break 50. And I mean, I was
so many empty frames.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I'm going to do it this time.
He gets easily rattled.
Yeah.
Like if he gets like too bad, things go bad twice, and he's done.
I'm fiercely competitive in that sense. I hate losing, and I just hate not being the winner all the time.
Well, that is amazing. You
I need to
studied it.
Hashtag keep winning.
You have to start winning.
No, anyway, what ended up happening that night, Jerry? How did I do bowling?
I don't know, a 37.
Yeah. I did horrible.
It was harder. I didn't bowl as well. I had one or two games. I think I bowled maybe a 128 or 130 at one point. But
I think so.
But it was tough with the lights and the disco and the distractions and the beer. There was a lot of. It was not as conducive to good bowling.
No, it was not.
So,
but I ended up doing better the last frame. Do you remember that?
You got a strike, didn't you? Finally,
I got a couple of strikes in that game. I mean, picking up the spares.
Wow.
And it was all because I gave up. I didn't care anymore.
You just got loose. Exactly.
Just didn't give any cares at all. So then so we've gotten to Friday night at this point. I was supposed to get up early and go to the state fair. Dakota was going to go too, and then you changed your mind. Yep. You were going to go. We were going to split. We were going to spend the entire weekend together. More forced friendship. And instead, you found another friend to hang out with, and you went golfing, and I went to the state fair.
Yep, I got a new set of golf clubs, some Cobras, and I was very eager to try them out. So my friend Trevor, who's also going to be staying at my wedding along with Jeremiah, the best man actually, lives in Alabama. He was up for the weekend, and I'm like, hey, you want to go play golf? I got these new clubs, yada yada, and he's like, yeah, absolutely. So we go out and we play 9 holes of golf at Memorial Park. We're like, where should we go eat lunch? And I'm like, you know what? We should go to Scooters because they got awesome steak sandwiches, like the best steak sandwiches in town. So we go down to Scooters, which is a local watering hole. Like
it's next to the corpse of the old Chrysler factory.
Yeah, it's a dive bar. And
have you ever been? You ever been to Scooters?
No. I know what you're talking about.
Me either.
I've never been in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't feel comfortable, do you?
I'm getting a little nervous right now, actually.
So we go in there, and then we eat lunch. Then Audrey's uncle, Randy, texts me and says, hey, you want to go to the driving range? I heard, I knew you got some new clubs. I'm like, absolutely, I'll go to the driving range. So go to the driving range about 1 o'clock. Hit a few golf balls, two buckets of balls, about 150 actually, and end up saying, where should we go eat dinner? Randy's like, hey, you want to go to Scooters? I was like, sure, I was just there, but I'll go. And then I think that we left Scooters, it was 10:30 that night.
I went to the state fair, I made it back, and still hung out with him for 2 hours at Scooters.
Wow.
My first experience.
Faithful.
I ended up roping Jeremiah in, and then Tanner produced all the comments on Facebook and swung by. Tanner, I think, ended up making a few friends because after we left, I was done. I was tired, beat from bowling, and essentially hitting around 210
around
golf
200
balls.
golf shots, yeah.
Yeah. So Tanner is still there, and he's like, hey, you guys just let me know whenever you're ready to leave because I got to call my dad, and he needs to come pick me up. I was like, Tanner, I think that we're leaving like right now. And he ends up staying for 2.5 hours after we leave and gets wrapped up in singing karaoke, probably sang a bunch of Toby Keith songs. And, like, you got to understand the scene.
He just turned 21.
That should have been recorded.
Yeah. The scene at this bar, whenever we left, whenever I went there, it was prime lunch and dinner times, right? And then people start weeding out about 9 o'clock. And then, so whenever Tanner's there, starting to sing, crowd. Yeah, he starts to sing karaoke, and there's like 2 bikers in there that are about 45, covered in sleeve tattoos and neck tattoos, leather vests, and then there's one old alcoholic man who's sitting in the corner, and a 48-year-old woman named Denise.
Well, you're doxing poor Denise now. Poor lady.
Denise spanked me while I was trying to play pool.
You mean she beat you in the pool game?
No. She did beat me in the pool game. It came down, we were both hitting at the 8-ball, but she literally used her hand to strike my rear end while I was trying to hit the ball with the cue stick. It was
a tactic.
Yeah. And she, literally one of the first things she says to me is, I think I have a son your age. It's like, oh, okay.
It's probably a line she's used a lot, Dakota.
Yep. And I guess Tanner actually graduated with her son, which is just hilarious. But yeah, there was those 4 people in Tanner, and Tanner singing karaoke in scooters.
He's probably going to be a lounge act within 2 or 3 years. Oh, man. So then I knew you spent the better part of a day in the bar, and you and I had plans. I took Monday off, the following Monday, and we were going to work on your laundry room. Because you've had a washer and dryer in your house for basically as long as we've hung out.
Yeah, for about 6 months.
Or as long as you've allowed me to go in your house, it's been sitting in there. We were friends before that, but you never let me be on the front door.
Takes at least 8 months of friendship.
I've actually never been in Clay's house either. I've only been to his driveway, so that's
true.
That's the way it goes.
I've never even been to Clay's driveway, just as home away from home.
Yeah, you visit him at work. That's cool. That's personal enough.
Yeah, I've never visited your work.
No, him.
You've taken pictures of my car.
Yes.
At my place of work.
Well, that was mostly because you screwed me up. You made me walk a mile and a half to pick up my vehicle. That's not the story we're telling today. So we Sunday afternoon, you're complaining about how your back magically hurts after hitting 200 golf shots, and you've got 2 days of work ahead of you.
Yep, my back was, and my core was just absolutely killing me from playing golf.
3 rounds of golf.
Yeah, from all the golf and from bowling, and I felt like I was going to die. And then Jeremiah's like, once again, like,
if you weren't 21, you wouldn't even have attempted that. By the way, at 34, I'm not playing 3 rounds of golf and bowling. Not a chance.
And then spending 8 hours in a bar.
Are you better at golf than you are bowling, though? That's the question I've been wondering.
Story. I'm much better at golf than bowling. Okay. That's the deal that Jeremiah and I have going on right now. Yeah. He's going to teach me how to bowl, and I'm going to teach him how to golf.
I can guarantee I'm much better at bowling than I am at golf.
Just as long as we pay for each other's memberships at the respective places.
I see.
I don't think so.
You're going to pay for my membership at Memorial Park? Is that not the deal?
You're out of control. Out of control. I haven't golfed there in a very long time. Very long time. Oh man. So yeah, we built your laundry room. I gave the better part of my left hand trying to carry your washer in after we got everything plumbed up.
Look at that.
I've been wounded for days. I'm probably going to get gangrene and lose a hand from trying to help.
It's dedication.
Yeah, we worked. What? How late did we work on Sunday?
We worked early on. We went. We estimated the job. Went through and figured out all the supplies we thought you could need. Went separate ways for dinner, and then got there and we worked from like 8 till midnight or 8 to 12:30 on Sunday night, and then got back up on Monday morning and went back at it
about 7 o'clock. And then worked on Monday from like 7 to 5?
Yeah, 5 o'clock. I went home, showered, and went to my park board meeting.
Yep. It was one heck of a vacation day, I can tell you that. But on the bright side, I have a brand new working washer and dryer. You have a working washer and dryer, and I can't do laundry here because I have a plumbing problem in my house now. We did all of your stuff, and mine's not draining well again. Well, if Trevor was still up here, I'd call him.
That's okay. No, I got it. I just got to crawl down my crawl space and Sarah's birthday weekend. That'll be our date. She'll go in the crawl space and help me cut out pipe.
There you go. I saw it was her birthday.
Yep. She's 27 now, so she's
climbing the old ladder,
aging gracefully, I guess. Right?
Yes.
I don't know. She's got the age on Facebook, so I shouldn't be in too much trouble for that one. So yeah, we built the laundry room. Dakota and I argued like an old married couple a number of times over what should be done or shouldn't be done.
Really, the extent of our arguing took place in Menards, I think.
Buying supplies. I was completely unconvinced for his plan of venting his dryer. We won't get into too much of it because I think the code enforcement.
Guess what ended up happening though, Clay?
Did you get your way?
I did, and you know what else happened? It worked.
For now.
There you go.
It works for now.
There you go.
We also ruined his washer downstairs, I'm pretty sure. I don't know how we did it, but it smelled like it was on fire, and we barely did anything to it. We replaced that.
It doesn't smell like that anymore.
Well, no, the fire went out 3 days ago.
No, I think that was just the burning wood from cutting the holes in the floor.
Yeah, that could be it. That could be what happened. So anyway, that's the weekend that we suffered through. We brought Clay here to treat him like a guest and not make him just listen to what we did. So
it has been interesting though. I'm just sitting here, just taking it in like a sponge.
Just like you're driving down the road looking for a bridge.
I think there's one other thing that happened this weekend.
What was that?
It was my coming of age into adulthood.
Oh,
we discovered while we were at Menards. Remember? Whenever I was.
Oh, it was story time with Dakota.
I was telling you about the dream that I had. I never dream, Clay, ever. And if I do, I don't remember them. I'll say that. And I distinctly remember dreaming on Friday night that my truck tires were bald in the rear, and I was really upset that I was going to have to spend the money to replace them, even though I just put new tires on them. And then I woke up. The entire dream was me being upset I had to buy new tires.
That is a grown man's dream.
Yeah, I would definitely ponder that.
What does it mean? What does it mean,
Definitely
Clay?
ponder that for days. Days, yeah.
I have been. Here it is Thursday, almost a week later, and I'm still kicking it around.
You're empathizing with me because I bought the Tahoe and then I had to put tires on it. So you're just...
Yeah. The tires on the truck have like 200 miles on them. There's no way they can be bald yet.
Well, they could be if you...
I'm already worried about when it happens next.
Well, maybe subconsciously that's what's in there. Your deep fears are
tires.
My God, these tires cost me so much money.
$1,000.
Now I'm going to have to pay for them again someday.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of coming out in your dream.
See, you have to budget that, I guess.
Yeah.
You have to plan for it. Plan ahead.
Yeah. So that would be a good idea.
Yeah. So speaking of budgets, that's Clay's job with the county. You're one of 7 people on the elected Henry County Council, and you're the financial arm of the county, right?
Yeah. Our number one responsibility is overseeing transferring of money, allocation of monies, especially in passing the budget from year to year for the county, and especially when it comes to the general fund, rainy day fund, and now our public safety LOIT fund.
What's a rainy day fund supposed to be used for?
Emergencies.
I tried, as a park board president, we tried to get on the agenda and explain to some of the emergencies that we had developed.
Yeah, right.
But we couldn't. We messed up the paperwork and have to wait until next month. Y'all meet once a month. You're not
Once
easy to hunt down.
No, we're not.
What qualifies as a county emergency?
So some of the things we've used it for. One of the first times we used quite a bit of it.
Right up on that mic for me, Clay.
Was back when I was first elected. And we had a need for some sheriff deputy vehicles. They hadn't bought vehicles in several years. There was even a story of one deputy driving down the road, and smoke was coming out from under his car because his heels were touching the ground. So going through the floor. So anyways, we had a lot of cars that had 200,000, 300,000, some up to 300,000. But mostly up to around 200,000 mile range. So we took a chunk and began a purchase process for vehicles. That's one, for instance, that we used it for. So it just depends, different things that pop up that we have to take care of, that there's no other fund to to use, but we got to be very careful with it right now because when I first started, we had $700,000 in it. It took us 2 years. We went through $500,000. So
Man.
Is there like a recommended amount? Does just state say you should have 1% of collections in a rainy day fund, or do they give you guidance
on the rainy day fund? I'm sure if we asked, they would have something. There's nothing that I've seen, but honestly, from just my short experience, $700,000 to $1 million, maybe $500,000, but $200 is not good.
It's not enough to deal.
It's really not. No. So we need to focus on it. The only way it's going to be built up is if we focus on it. So
interesting. And then you guys have the Lowett money. I remember testifying against that about 3 years ago, saying that it was going to be a bad idea, and you didn't have to do this tax, and it was not. It was going to be. It was questionable in my mind at the time if you needed it or needed to do that. But it's one of those situations where I think the state legislature says if you need more money, here's the gun. Pull the trigger.
Oh, yeah, definitely. For sure.
And then they make you vote on the tax increase.
100%.
How's that worked out looking back now? And
it's definitely been a benefit. I mean, especially the problems we've had this past year with our local jail. Our county jail it's a money pit. And honestly, it's been taking a lot of our funds. Like this year, $100-some thousand for a roof, $30-some thousand to fix the doors. And then they burnt the jail up, the inmates, causing fires, and you got to pay for that. And so there's, several $100,000 gone in just a couple of instances. So it's been very, very beneficial. The one thing though that was disappointing and was one of your concerns, and along with other people, was public safety Lowett money is supposed to be spent solely for public safety, and I can say that we've done that. Except some other things that they have chosen to do is just switch money around. So they'll take it.
You might have used public safety money for. There were things you were already doing with public safety money that now you're able to shift those dollars.
Yeah. So here's a quick, for instance, last year, the sheriff's retirement. Okay, close to $300-some thousand a year, roughly, paid for through general fund. That was a normal thing each year that came from general fund. So when we had the Lowett money,
Lowett is a local option income tax, by the way.
Yes.
To define that for those that aren't
and now they call it LIT, just local income tax.
It's not an option; you have to do it.
You're right, exactly. So, but anyways, we took. We sat around the table and said, well, we could pay the sheriff's retirement, and that would free up about, I think we took $200-some thousand from the public safety tax to do that. Well, then what ended up happening is they turned right around and used a big portion of that freed up space, if you will, in general fund to give raises across the board, not just public safety. So money was just switched around, which was disappointing to me because that wasn't the purpose of the tax.
Right.
That's just one for instance.
What was sold to the people was that we have police cars that are failing, that we need to replace police cars, and we have a jail that has significant issues, and those were those are the targeted things.
And it has helped. It has. We have done that. We have used it properly to an extent, in my opinion. But the problem is we've also used a portion of it just to switch money, just to trade hands, rob Peter to pay Paul, so to speak. And that part has been frustrating.
Sure.
So
at the last meeting, I mean, it was I was there, and the county used money to buy an ambulance, as an example, which is a capital
fire truck.
It was a piece of equipment for a fire department. Yeah. So for one of the townships, and then you expressed some concerns at that point that, hey, we've got to figure out what's going to happen because there's 12 other townships that are going to line up looking for fire departments out of this fund.
Yeah, and admittedly, I mean, I knew, and I was the one that made that motion. I knew we were opening up a can there to do that, but they had a legitimate need. These were taxpayers that put into that fund. It's one of our biggest townships as far as population. This fire department serves those people. They're one of the first responders in that area. I mean, they needed it. It was a legitimate need. But the problem was we weren't ready for it. And what was disappointing is we knew when we passed the tax that this kind of stuff was coming. And we didn't prepare for it.
You didn't have a process for application.
We didn't have a process for it. So the bad news is we just kind of bit the bullet, so to speak, was a comment I used. There was another council person that didn't necessarily like my use of that term. But that's in my perspective, that's what we were doing. We know this is going to be tough. Let's just do it. They need it. It's something that's legitimate, but we know it's going to be repercussions.
Right.
And it put them on the seat to actually, now we have to form a plan, which that's good.
That's fair. But it's a tough process. Like if you're a township trustee in, we'll say Louisville, in Harrison Township or another township in Henry County, and you need to save up money to buy a fire truck, and it's going to be $40,000, and you've got $1,200 a year in Lowit money, you're going to spend every nickel you have of Lowit money for the next 15 years saving up money to do that. Yeah. Well, or you apply for a grant.
Right.
It's not easy.
And how most of those survive, my understanding, because I've talked to several, is they do survive on grants, mainly. And the townships, here's the thing, the townships themselves do not get Lowit money. Just the towns within the townships. So Springport, because we're, in that case, we're talking about Prairie Township.
Right. So you have it's a northern Henry County. You've got a township that has two small communities.
Right. Mount Summit and Springport.
Right.
And
a couple hundred people in each town. They're not metropolises by any means.
Very small. So for instance, whereas the county gets in Lowit tax, the county gets $1 million to $1.3 million from Lowit each year. Those entities may get $1,000 to $2,000 each year.
Right.
And they denied this fire department any of their funds. So
$1,000, they're going to buy some Band-Aids.
Yeah.
I mean,
right. I mean,
it's not going to go far.
Yeah. Right now, it's definitely not perfected, and we definitely need to work on how we're going to go about this because, with you guys living here, the issues we have at the sheriff department with the jail. I mean, it's been on the news, several times in the past couple of years.
Certainly,
we have some definite issues there.
Well, Henry County's talking about building a jail as well, right? There's been talk, or there's always been talk of a study that's coming along or that's trying to come along.
Yeah, there's unofficial talk in the realms that be, but yeah, there is. We have a criminal justice coordinating committee. And, there is a needs assessment study that's been done. It started at the first of this year. By the end of this month, or end of September, we should have some cost estimates on about 3 different options for a jail. And then it'll be up to us to either say, we need to do something or continue to just kind of let things roll as they are.
These jails and we're filling them all up, right?
Oh, yeah.
Henry County's at capacity. I can remember when I was in high school.
More so,
Henry County had
past capacity at that point.
Henry County had additional room, and they would bring people in from out of county and make money off of it in a small for-profit way. Rush County, the county to our south here, is building a new jail. Mm-hmm. And then today in the Muncie paper, I don't know if you've seen this one or not, but Muncie's trying to build a 600-bed jail. Delaware County is.
I know they've been talking about it for a few years.
And they're getting a couple presentations, and
they're building in quotation marks. They're using a shell building right now.
One of the presentations is to take a shell. We have a shell building here in Henry County that's still vacant.
Yeah.
One of the presentations is to give up in their industrial center, give up on the shell building that they have had built for 4 or 5 years, and put a jail in it. Which, it's
a great idea.
If you're in the industrial park, all of a sudden you've gone from having a light manufacturing facility, and next door you've got the county jail.
There's some interesting things there, yeah.
So it's that.
Put the inmates in the shell building here in Henry County, and then once they get out, they can walk across the street and apply for a job at Boar's Head.
Hey, well, you're definitely thinking.
Yeah. It's for the betterment of our county. putting it in the shell building right now. I didn't even know that Muncie had a shell building.
Yeah,
like,
everybody's
we do.
everybody's got a shell building.
That's right. It was the thing.
They are all the same.
It was the thing.
Every rural community in the state of Indiana has done it. I understand why they've done it, and it's a public-private partnership, and you get a private contractor. Run-and-Bohm built this one here. I think Garmong built the one in Muncie, and they both have been sitting on them for 4 or 5 years. And they'll say, I know I've heard, this shell building attracted other businesses who come in, even though this one sits empty.
Yeah.
So on and so forth. But
yeah, Boar's Head was one that came in. They looked at our shell building. It definitely wasn't going to meet their needs. So they
well, what they do, Dakota, is they build like 1/16 of the actual building they need. They'll put that up. That's the shell building, and they say it's expandable times 8 in this direction and that direction, and you're ready to go.
Right.
It's just a little taste. It's the same thing drug dealers do, basically.
Yeah.
The economic development. Hi, Corey. The same thing the economic development
Corey
corporation
would
will
like
do.
that, right?
Just give them a little taste of it, and then they can build it.
Hey, man, check this out. Imagine if it was just a little bit more.
We got electric and water down here, too. Everything you need.
Corey, I love you.
Look, it's the market we live in. Delaware County does it. Rush County has a beautiful industrial park with absolutely nothing in it. Gorgeous. Not a damn building on it.
Wayne
Love
County
you, John,
does
too.
as well.
But it's just everybody does it, and it's And then you heard testimony from the last meeting that whenever somebody actually does come in and invest, they come to the council and they say, "Hey, I'm going to spend $30 million on a new structure, or I'm going to spend $1.5 million on my business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
where can I have my abatement, please?"
Right.
Well, it's the cycle that we get into.
It is, and the thing is, I've heard people say, tax abatements are necessary evil. Well, in some aspects, I get it, because one, so many cases, and it's they're not going to show their hand, right? So you're sitting there and you're wondering if they don't receive some kind of a break.
Are they going to do this somewhere else?
Are they going to do it or somewhere else?
Right.
Because someone else will give it.
Sure.
And so you're in this competition. And so if they don't come, you don't get nothing. But if they do come, you get some for so many, it builds over so many years. Right. And then once the abatement's over, you get full. And
they promise that they're going to bring in 500 jobs, and they bring in 110.
Plus you get...
And it's the same story.
Well, I mean, you get some low tax money from that, too.
Yeah, no doubt it does happen.
Especially, Boar's Head, that's a lot of low money.
Yeah. Boar's Head has been good. TS Tech's been good. Who else was it? We keep, it's now Newcastle Stainless Plate,
right?
I think.
Yep.
We usually give them abatement. I mean, they've been good for this area over the years, kept people in jobs, good paying jobs.
Right. So. It's all understandable. It's just it's not the council level that it's more the state legislature level where we design a system that requires, once again, the locals to make these swaps.
It's kind of like, you're playing a game of cards. You got to play with the hand you're dealt.
Yeah. Well,
and so you kind of,
if the Republicans hadn't decided to make property taxes permanent 10 years ago, this wouldn't be a problem. We could just do things off income taxes and not have to charge people based upon what equipment they build in their. Yeah, I'm sorry, sales taxes. Sales taxes or income taxes. Property taxes are the worst of the three you have. That's the absolute worst you have, because it screws over the guy that actually makes an investment in your community.
Yeah, there could. Yeah. Anyways, I think a lot about these things. I'm sure you do too. Where it's common sense seems like there could be such an easier and better tax structures, criminal justice structure. You're talking about filling the jails. I mean, there's common sense things that could be done, but then once you start getting into the weeds of it all and trying to make changes, you begin to learn that XYZ has so much money here and XYZ has so much money there, and really it comes down to money. And not to go all biblical on you, but the scripture talks about you either love God or you love money, and the reason I bring that up is because you can really see how money drives so many things, and it makes people make decisions that are not beneficial to everyone else.
Yeah, they're all short-sighted.
It's very short-sighted. Money makes you short-sighted. Yeah. I guess.
If you don't have the discipline to plan,
so
at the government level or the personal level, you get yourself in.
So
trouble.
I know I'm kind of getting into.
So let's talk about how Henry County compares. You've looked at other areas and you kind of study this. It's your gig,
right?
How does Henry County compare with other counties of its same size? And the money that comes in, the expenditures that we have to have.
I mean, obviously, we're not gonna be comparable to Hamilton County or Wayne County or something like that. But like Rush County would be
not even
similar.
Wayne, But I looked at the counties. I looked at were close and rural, and the actual one county that's close to us that is almost identical in population and size is Shelby County.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
But I also looked at Rush County. I looked at Fayette County. I looked at Randolph County also. And so basically, just real quick, walk through 2016, December 31st, 2016. What was the ending general fund balance? And we don't stack up very well, actually. We ended the year with $140,000, whereas Shelby ended the year with $340,000, I think.
And they're the closest to us, right?
And they're the ones that's more comparable.
They had over double, right?
So, pretty much double what we had. But here's the thing that, and you have to get way down in the weeds to figure all this out, and
right.
I didn't do that. But the thing about it is the other three counties I compared to are much smaller than us in population. But you have Fayette County, which was one of the poorest counties in Indiana. They ended 2016 with over $1 million in their general fund.
Really?
And Rush was over $1 million, and Randolph was $3 million.
Shelby County has a casino. Maybe we need a casino over here.
That could have attributed to some of their funds. But
put it in the Shell building.
There you go.
Have to apply for
But-
it. Got to get Tom Saunders, our state rep, to get
Do
us
we need to
get us a casino.
Do we
license.
need to make that Shell building a boat so that there can be live dealers, or is that not a law anymore?
I don't know about that.
Here in White Estates, we could almost build a moat and make the whole thing a casino and solve my sewage
yeah,
problem.
but it would be on poop water.
That's the way Italy is. People like to go to Italy anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
It'd be all right.
In India.
Well, thanks for giving us a little feedback on how this process works. Right now, you guys are going through doing the budgets. I know my part of the world is the Henry County Park Board, Memorial Park, and we went through and kind of analyzed what there's a certain amount of dollars that you can hear Riley in the background now, the old lab running around. A certain amount of dollars that the property tax caps will allow a park to have, essentially, and between payroll and head count, it almost takes up the entire budget of what it takes to operate the park, where it leaves nothing there for maintenance. $3,000 to run a couple 100-acre park,
right?
With a superintendent's home, 20 shelters, and an entire county fairground sitting on it. So it doesn't work very well. So we presented a budget request. The park board had some meetings, workshops, submitted it, and then I guess from that point, our superintendent comes to you guys and makes a presentation. And how does that go? Each department, I assume, does something similar.
Yeah. Well, in the parks case, we do have some say. We can throw some money here and there and allocate it. But in the parks case, park board and health department are the two departments that you can come to us with whatever you want. And we can say yes or no, but then we submit it to the state. Is really who tells you.
Right.
The state will, it's like last year, as you know, they get your budget. We say okay, and state says you have to cut $67,000. So you cut $67,000. So that's when Lori works with the auditor, try to figure out where you can cut. And obviously, in your case, there's
not much there.
There's nowhere to cut. So yeah, we're in a predicament there also.
Yeah,
very much so.
Yeah. So after my meeting on Monday, we we went through in the superintendent's home as a part of the compensation for having a park superintendent. They have a home that's provided. Went through and toured it, and the furnace truly needs replaced. So that's a $6,000 problem in a $3,000 budget that has to last a year. And then there were bats living in it. So we tried to go to the council meeting, and we missed the agenda, so we have to go back in a month.
So now you want a chunk of that $200,000 in our emergency fund.
I'm just presenting the problem.
Only $3,000.
Because you've already been told by one of our commissioners that the council has the money.
The council has it.
Yeah. We have it.
Yeah. It's
that's
an
exactly
interesting
what he's going to say. Listen to this recording of Clay Morgan telling me how much money you had in the emergency fund.
Right. Yeah, tell me if it's an emergency. But it's a wild scenario you get into where you've got a contract that says you're going to provide heat for a building, and then you've got a $6,000 problem, and you've got no tool to fix it from our side.
And here's the thing, and on this issue, speaking of Henry County, and obviously you have listeners everywhere that are like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Right.
But this can relate to any local government unit. The thing is, when you have a lot of times in local government especially, I mean, we complained about it at the federal level, especially when you have the same people in there for so long. Well, locally, it becomes almost a bigger issue because you all live together.
Sure.
You know what I mean? You're coming home to the same place. You're not in a district and traveling to Washington, and you can speak up and say what you want.
It's a small town. We all have to shop at the same Kroger and the same Walmart.
Exactly. So, but what happens is you get the same for so long, and so you begin to build a culture, and then the economy and society begins to change, but that culture that's built doesn't. And so while everything else is changing around you, everybody wants to operate the same way they've operated for 20 years.
It feels like 1976 in county government.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's a real issue. And me personally, I'm concerned about it because, we also set down in our budget meetings, we have a projection that we paid for through Umball and Associates to give us a financial plan. And, they project out to 2020 for us this year. And our general fund, they actually project that in 2018 we'll run $18,000 short in the general fund. By 2020, they're predicting $850,000 short in the general fund. But what gets me, and
that's not like it's super far off.
No,
that's
it's just a
3
couple
years away.
And here's the thing, though. We pass a budget.
Right,
we haven't officially passed this budget.
Right.
But we have a budget that will likely pass. My vote, honestly, probably won't matter. I voted no last year, and it passed. Everybody else voted yes. But here's the thing. No matter how I vote, it'll probably pass. And it doesn't deal with our future issues. It gets us through 1 year.
But it doesn't look at the big black hole that's staring you 3 years in the face.
It does nothing to avoid the iceberg that's ahead of us. We're not even trying to turn the ship a little bit. We're just full steam ahead. And what's going to end up happening in a few years down the road is a different council is going to take the burden. And, I know if you want to spend a bunch of time on this or not, but one thing I do want to say, now that you got me on a roll here, but I begin to think, how am I going to vote on this budget? Because it's not like I always enjoy being the stick in the mud or the thorn in the side. It's just I'm not afraid to be. Right? But I don't want to be that guy that walks in the room and everybody rolls their eye and go, oh, my God, he's here. I don't want to be that guy. But here's the thing. I thought about this budget that we're looking at passing. I thought, how am I going to vote? And I sat there, and I carry this stuff home, and I'm sitting there thinking about it, a little bit stressed about it. And I want to get along. I want to go along to get along, so to speak. But at the same time, I thought, you know what? Can I look my sons in the eye? And I hate, I'm not trying to run for office. I've still got 3 more years to go. But can I look my sons in the eye 10 years from now and say and justify a yes vote when I see trouble ahead?
Yep.
And I don't think I can't do that. I can't do that.
You have to vote your conscience, and when you vote no on something, you make it known why. You write an opposition, a statement, release a statement,
or you come on the Boss Hog of Liberty and just tell everybody,
and you tell us why.
Yeah,
they'll hear it there too. But yeah, Thomas Massey or
we'll
Justin Amash.
We'll publish a link to this in the Courier Times.
Hey, there you go. And, yeah. The guys and gals that I work with them. I can sit down and eat breakfast with them. I mean, we get along. It's just, I think there is a culture difference there, though.
Yep.
I see things a little differently.
Understand. Yeah, well, I understand being on the losing side of a vote on Monday night. We had a 3-2 vote that I was on the short end of too.
That's true.
The park board, we had.
Did you get any vote?
Yeah, it was 3-2.
3-2.
3-2.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
So this is somebody had complained or noted that there was bow fishing going on in the park, in our ponds, where somebody will use a bow and an arrow, and it's a totally legit thing. If you have a fishing license in Indiana, you're licensed to bow hunt or bow fish.
Sure. According to the Indiana DNR, once you have your fishing license, that covers fishing, which includes bow fishing.
So you'll do that for gar or carp. So we have carp here.
Yeah.
And carp is carp's not a native.
Carp.
It's not a native thing here. They take over. The population does need to be controlled.
Sure.
And it's a very
huge
efficient
carp
way.
in that pond.
Very efficient way to actually remove them. It would be to bow fish. So in my view, it's kind of a service. But we received 2 complaints from people that said, "Hey, there's people bow fishing, and they were uncomfortable with it, and."
I don't know how that works, and it makes me scared.
There was a 3-2 decision that people were nervous for the kids.
Maybe they were there. They really wanted to shoot the geese.
That's it.
Yeah.
There's the
when
geese,
you're not
the geese
looking.
are overwhelming as well, especially the Canadian geese. They don't have their papers.
Do the geese taste better than carp? I would imagine so.
I would say
Carp
so.
is
I've had goose. Yes.
Carp is so difficult to clean, though, too, because they have that mud vein that runs right through them.
Yeah.
I've heard.
I don't know. It's a lot easier to shoot one than it is to snag one.
Was the meeting with the complaints, was it anything like the Parks and Rec episode where the guy goes up there and he's like, "I'm scared," and she says, "What are you scared of?" "I don't know. I'm just scared."
Some nights are like that.
Welcome to America.
Welcome to the county government.
Yeah.
There were 14 members of the public, plus the superintendent, plus 5 park board members. That's a lot for one of our meetings.
Oh, yeah.
Jeremiah's been inviting me to these park board meetings and the commissioners' meetings for as long as I've known him. And it's just, after the weekend that we had, it was like, I think I'm going to stay home.
I had a panic moment too. This is me telling on myself, but I showed up at the council meeting and I sat in the back row all by myself, chilling.
Saw you.
I set all my stuff down, and then I went down to talk to everybody. And I picked up my phone, I picked up my tablet, and I went down and I talked to the council members. And I wound up going around, went in the auditor's office for a little while, and kind of talked to folks. Went downstairs, went to the bathroom, got back upstairs, sat somewhere else for the commissioners meeting. I go up. I got called up for the commissioners meeting to talk on behalf of the park board. So that was in the first 20 minutes or so. And then there's about another half an hour of the commissioners meeting. Feeling my pockets. Where the hell are my car keys?
Uh-oh.
I've been all over the county courthouse. I've been in offices. I've been downstairs. I've been on 3 different floors. I can't find my car keys anywhere. I've sat in like 4 different seats in the building at this point. I'm half panicking, and there's a meeting going on, so I can't just get up and start looking. Because I had been down up front where the commissioners were sitting. I had been at the podium. I was all over that building. Panicked. I almost texted Dakota, and I'm like, "Hey, man, you're probably going to have to come down here and pick me up." Which I'm sure would have been well received. So, yeah, I found them. They were in the back row. I got up, and as soon as the meeting was over, I went to the back row and found them, and the lady's like, "Oh, I didn't know whose these might have been." I said, "They're mine. Thank you." I was like, if they're sitting somewhere, somebody's going to turn them in, and it's going to be just this whole.
Then you got to track them down.
Yeah. And I can't go home. I can't leave.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a panic moment for me.
It's such a good feeling when you find them.
It is. Yeah. But you just feel like an idiot.
I have a key courthouse story actually.
All right.
Yeah. I usually always keep a spare key to my house.
I'm working on the last of my slushy, by the way.
Wallet. It's
amazing.
It's wonderful, amazing slushy.
Stop by and say the Cogers.
But I carried this extra key in my wallet, and my wallet, I had a friend, he made me this really nice leather wallet. But one of the pockets has gotten loose where I keep the key, and one day I'm looking for it, and it's gone. Well, I have no clue, right? So days, weeks, I'm just thinking it's gone, so I just can't worry about it. So yesterday, after the council meeting, when we're up front and you're talking, and me and you and Rachel White and everybody, I look over on the president's podium, and there's a key right there. And I said, that's my key. I bet that's my key. So I grab it, I go home, I use it. It was my key.
Amazing. It finally comes back.
There you go. There you go.
Wow. Dakota's run off. I don't know at this point. We're running long on time here. I don't know if he wants to get into some of the other stuff or not. It's you get the rest of the program's for you, man. And you ran off. You disappeared on me. By the way, Rachel White Connor, grew up with her as well, 4-H'er. She's also an avid listener of the Boss Hog of Liberty. She said she can only allow 40 minutes to the show, though. So, Rachel, at this point, we'll let you go. I know this is the time of the show where you're probably arriving at work. So, being the hotshot lawyer you are, you've got to go inside and go do something more important than listen to this show. But we appreciate you making it this far.
The official legal counsel of the Boss Hog of Liberty.
That's right. Although that's not entirely true. We've got
there's a fierce competition going on.
Is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sean Rao is scheduled next week.
That's right.
He's scheduled to be our guest.
Forgot about Sean. Dakota was telling me that today.
Yeah,
there's a little Easter egg coming.
Yeah.
Our Boss Hog of Voyeuring in Henry County. That's Mr. Sean Rao. He'll be on next week.
That's right.
Okay, so we've covered local topics.
Yes, sir.
It's time to jump in a little bit on national topics, and we couldn't have Clay on the show
without talking about the God Emperor,
the notable Republican soldier that he is, without talking about Mr. Trump. And we just have to trash on him for a little bit.
We should probably make him go through and pick all of his favorites right now in the Indiana primary for the 6th congressional district seat and the U.S. Senate seat. You got you got things lined up over there yet? Are you running for Congress? You running for Senate?
I am not. But I do back. I do have a senator race candidate picked already, and if my buddy Mr. Warner's listening. I do apologize.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
But I've talked to Luke, and I support Luke Messer for the U.S. Senate seat there.
I like Luke a lot. I've been a fan of his since 2000 when he ran for Congress the first time, and then the second and third and fourth times he ran unsuccessfully. I cheered for him all along.
For some reason, Jeremiah is blocked on his Facebook page.
That's true. I couldn't
You're
comment.
blocked on Messers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he sends a picture one day of something that he had posted on the campaign's Facebook page. It's like a picture of him in his truck that says Luke Messer for U.S. Senate or whatever. And Jeremiah says he must be scared that people are going to make fun of him because no one can comment on it. And so I went to the page and I just commented, I like Luke on the picture. And I was like, no, only you have been blocked from commenting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, Darren had me blocked for the longest time from the Henry County Democrats page as well.
I'm trying desperately to get blocked.
That's great.
I've been blocked by Occupy Democrats. I've been blocked by the other 98% or the other 98% or whatever there are. And then a communist meme page too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't been blocked from anything yet.
Well, you're not trying hard enough.
I don't try hard enough.
Darren, if you're listening to this, I'm coming for you.
Oh, man.
Dang lefties.
Yeah. There was a chance up until yesterday I could have been Darren's new boss, but the commissioner saw to it that I won't be. I won't be on the planning commission.
Yeah, that's right.
To oversee Darren.
I did hear about that.
So Donald Trump flip-flopped.
Yes.
He's wearing Old Navy flip-flops, and they have flipped and they have flopped totally. One side, we have him in 2011 3 times saying that the war in Afghanistan is a waste of money. We should be pulled out. In 2011 or in 2012, he actually tweets out, "Ron Paul is right about Afghanistan. We need to get out of there." Actually, that was not the first time in 2012. That was like the 5th or 6th out of the 7 times that he tweeted it. In 2013, 8 more times, and 2 times in 2014 and 15. That's
a pretty strong record of being against the war.
Yeah, he really hates this war. That's a grand running total over the course of 4 years.
That's almost enough for me to want to consider voting for a guy that's gonna be that committed to making a change.
Yeah, you would think so. And then what happened, Clay? What happened here? What did he do?
Well, here's my perspective anyway. My very minute county government perspective on this issue. I remember when here's what I think happened. Not just very outside look. I think he truly thought in the beginning, we need to get out of there. We probably, to be honest with you, it probably didn't all start correctly, but now we see in hindsight.
Right, and that was one of the things that he also brought up in the speech was talking about how we're stuck in this position where
I think we're stuck.
Things weren't done right before. We can't go back in time, and we can't change our actions whenever we first went to Afghanistan. But he also said, my original instinct was to pull out.
Right.
And historically, I like following my instincts, but all my life I've heard that decisions are much different when you sit behind the desk in the Oval Office. In other words, when you're a president of the United States. So I studied Afghanistan in great detail and from every conceivable angle. After many meetings over many months, we held our final meeting last Friday at Camp David with my cabinet and generals to complete our strategy.
Right.
So I have to respect that he actually did admit my instinct was to pull out.
Right.
And yes, I do like to go with my instinct, but after sitting behind the desk and learning the things I've learned, I've changed my mind.
Right. On a positive side.
16 years.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
2001.
Yeah. And no real end in sight.
Not at all.
So
it's like that. Did you see that Onion article? 19-year-old man happy that overjoyed that he will be walking the same route as his father.
Oh, I didn't see that article, but I've heard that there were people. Yeah.
Yeah. You've got literally second generation
and
people fighting the same war.
And here's the thing. There's a few things from a distance that I see about this. One on the positive side with Donald Trump. I'm glad to see that he's finally not saying, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm going to do it my way anyway. That's a good thing. It's a good thing that he's listening to somebody.
He's running out of people to fire.
Yeah, well, and that is true too. But he's surrounded by generals. He's surrounded by people that have been there, done that. And so there is absolutely no doubt that he heard things, saw things, and understands things much, much differently now than he did before.
And I don't dispute that at all.
Right.
But it's the things that I think that it's the reasons that I think that he's learning that I have a problem with, because I don't think that there are legitimate reasons to be at war. I don't think that it's because there are legitimate terror threats that we need to be continuously just doing proxy wars in the Middle East.
I don't know. I know there's much more activity than what we know about. I know people who have been to in contact with people that work for the big time government, Homeland Security, all that stuff that freaks me out. That monster that we've created. And there's some very serious legitimate threats. There has been plans to attack us, and they have failed. Some of it's been because of all this connectivity we have and all this insider information we have and things of that nature. But here's one thing on Afghanistan that I ponder. I mean, I don't know the details, but I ponder, and that is this. Glenn Beck, my good friend, he said he was a very adamant and outspoken with President Bush when this whole thing started way back years ago. Bush had him to the White House, and it took several years before Beck said what the president actually told him, because he said he didn't feel like it was right at the time. But he said while he was in the office, because I always heard him say President Bush told him something that blew his mind and that he couldn't say yet. But then the day came, then he let it out. And he said President Bush told him, because Beck, again, was complaining about, why are we doing this? Why are we over there? Why are you making these decisions? And said the president looked at him and kind of motioned toward the desk and said, I want to tell you, he said, whoever sits behind this desk, he said, I don't care who it is. And I think, what was it, McCain and Obama were running the...
Sure.
Right.
He said, whoever it is, they will make the same decisions that I've been making because they'll have to. Okay? So...
Hey, you operate from a position of no options.
Yes.
The military calls the shots, and you
well,
get yes.
And I don't know what he meant. I don't know what he's saying. But here's something I watched even during President Obama's term. Though I was very critical of many things of his policies, one thing I noticed about him is even though he campaigned on full pullout, he campaigned on ending the war. He was all about it.
Right.
But 8 years...
None of them mean it.
He never did. Why? President Trump comes along. He makes those comments for years. But when it's his decision, he meets with his staff and says, can't do it.
And I think that's what...
So something's
what
up.
made it...
I think it's fear.
I think it's what made it to where...
I really do. I think it's fear of doing something differently.
And I'm not saying that's not possible.
But that's what I thought.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, Trump has got, like, big balls, okay? We cannot dispute that.
Are you judging that based off the size of his hands?
Oh, boy.
No.
Oh, okay.
From the minister.
And,
okay.
I mean,
my goodness.
The man, he tweeted out that gif of him beating up CNN. He just tweeted out another picture of him eclipsing a black and white picture of Barack Obama. And, I mean, if there's anybody
He tweeted that out himself?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't see that one.
That was just today.
Okay.
Yeah. And if there's anybody that's not going to be afraid of offending his cabinet, then who will it be?
Right. No, and I see what you're saying there, but on the other side, it makes me wonder, is there something much more serious to this?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Don't drink the fluoride.
Because he is someone that typically is not afraid.
Yeah, I
right?
agree with you.
He's not
totally.
afraid to look stupid. He's not afraid to be an idiot.
Yeah.
Because sometimes he does. Now, I respect the position, and I like a lot of his stances, to be quite honest. But the way he goes about things is obviously very abrasive,
unpresidential.
And
we'll leave it at that.
Sure. But
You're in favor of his...
like I said, it just makes me wonder what he's heard.
Right.
To make him change. Now, what's your little comment?
I said you're in favor of his health care plan at this point, of just pass anything, I'll sign it?
Well, health care's... No. I could talk about health care for a little bit.
That's all right.
Yeah, right.
Let's not
worry about it, right?
I've gone into Clay's barber shop for a 20-minute haircut and stayed there for about 2 hours in the evening.
We've talked about
health care.
You must go in quieter days. Poor Clay. Every time I go in, he's got 3 people ahead of me and 3 behind me.
But I always enjoy to see your face.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
You do
So
the best you can with my
basically,
hair.
that's all there really is to say about Trump's policy. Is it's going to be the same. If he's in office for 4 years, then it's going to be.
It would have been the same if Hillary was elected.
Yeah, exactly.
I think so.
And when he quits in shame in 2 months or 2 years, Mike Pence is going to have the same policy. It won't change.
There's before the election, I said many times, I don't care who wins. There's two things that I believe will happen that we can't stop. And one is some type of war. I think it's going to happen at some point, because the world has become so tense. At some point, we're going to go, whether we like it, whether we want it, and whoever's president. Some button's going to be pushed somewhere. The other thing is our economy. I think though things seem to be going pretty decent now, it bothers me when the Republican Party boasts so much about how great things are. We've seen it all before from the Democrats when Obama was in there. But the fact is, there's still certain things and aspects about our economy that look a lot like right before everything busted.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're always going to have periods of
and I don't
recession
think Trump and I don't think Hillary Clinton, either one, could stop that.
Right.
Yep.
But you have the economics work in cycles, right? You're
Sure,
going to have
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Gary Johnson couldn't have done it either.
Exactly. But whoever's in office will get the blame.
Yep.
Period.
Yep. Speaking about Hillary Clinton, we're talking about when Hillary came into office, and do you listen to Tony Katz at all?
No.
Either one of you?
Sure.
Yeah.
They work the man like crazy. He has to work about 6 hours a day for WIBC. He works 4 hours in the morning and then 2 more mid-morning.
Yep.
Hope he's well compensated.
I would imagine so. He's got a good radio program, but
he stood toe to toe with Greg Lentz this week. By the way, co-host Greg Lentz at the Big Show. Greg's going to be on Abdul's show. Greg Lentz, if we are libertarians, will be on Abdul's show on Saturday. And,
Tony Katz was on there too.
Tony's at the same station, and Greg said he's about 1'6" shorter than he is.
Really,
short little, yeah.
Tony Katz is
diminutive
short?
fellow. Yeah,
man, that's weird. He's got such a powerful voice.
Tiny little Jewish guy. Anyway, please continue.
Shamil.
Just like he's one of your people.
yeah. I am.
Shalom.
Did you listen to that? Yeah,
we got our ancestry results back.
Oh,
I'm 100% European, 75% British, 10% Irish, and a little bit of mud in there.
I'm 80% Great Britain, and 10% Jewish. Or no, 9% Jewish, 1% Middle Eastern.
Ooh.
Yep.
Almost like Jesus.
I said I'm a brown Jew. That's as close to Jesus as what you guys are.
Yeah, so Hillary's got a book.
Yeah, Hillary has a book. The title of it is hilarious to me. It's titled "What Happened," and the only thing that I can think of
is that her quote on election night. Maybe that they're taking that from.
I don't know. I can just what happened? What happened here? No. Oh my God! The title of that is just so funny. What happened?
Doesn't take much to make him laugh.
Does it have her on the cover with her head tilted and shrugging her shoulders? I don't know. No,
I can't say I've read it yet.
Nobody has.
It's not technically out yet. It's
gotcha.
They've been periodically releasing
snippets,
portions of the reading of it by Mrs. Clinton herself.
Oh,
she sounds like she's speaking at her own funeral. It's awful.
Yeah,
she sounds like as monotone. She has no emphasis of any of her syllables. It's terrible, terrible.
She's, yeah. I mean, if there was any,
it's not even shrill Hillary. It's dead inside Hillary.
Yeah, if there was any thought that, you know what, maybe she is a reptile. This is concrete. No, I think my favorite quotes from the book is her saying, "Do you stay calm, keep smiling, and carry on as if he weren't repeatedly invading your space? Or do you turn, look him in the eye, and say loudly and clearly, 'Back up, you creep, get away from me. I know you love to intimidate women, but you can't intimidate me, so back up.'" And she doesn't read it like that at all in her audiobook. She's like, "Do you stay calm, keep smiling, and carry on as if he repeatedly weren't invading your space." And
you're making me want to hear it.
It's so funny.
Quit selling her book, you shill. We're here to sell donuts and slushies.
And Tony Katz.
And
haircuts. Produce.
Yeah,
that's right.
Tony Katz did this bit on his show where he takes her reading the audiobook and he plays it with a backdrop of really emotional music and like a violin playing and piano playing. Oh, so funny. But she goes on to talk about that quote that I just said, stay calm, keep smiling. She's like, there are times where I thought, should I just choose option B? It certainly would have made for better television. But instead I chose option A and just clenched my teeth and dug my fingernails into the palms of my hand. I'm like, oh my God. Seriously.
No.
She was quick on the trigger with that book.
Yeah,
she's still impacting our lives today.
Yeah, bottom of the line is Donald Trump's been elected. There's been countless media attention about what happened
Mm-hmm.
And she still continues. She doesn't take the blame for any of it in the book. Okay, she's
like
never
Danica
says,
Patrick. It's not her fault.
Yeah, she never says maybe I wasn't the best candidate. Sure. You know, she blames the Russian hacking.
Sure.
And James Comey's 11th hour reveal or what have
I
you.
think she took. I mean, one thing, she took the American people for granted. I mean, you look at the hard-working American man in the factory, that was always been Democrat. I think the Democrats as a whole kind of took their people for granted.
Yeah, and the Dale Coles of the Democrat Party.
Right. Dale Cole, he's a great guy. Also a customer of MVP Barber Shop.
I'm surprised Dale doesn't have much hair left.
Yes. But yeah, he's a great dude. But he's that old-time Democrat that stood for family and values and
the union living wage supporting Democrats.
And I think they got away from that.
Wisconsin, Illinois,
exactly.
Or not Illinois. I'm sorry, Wisconsin, Ohio, and Michigan. That alone flipped the map.
Exactly.
The Steel Belt.
Yeah. And of course Indiana, which was just massive. So
like
massive
said,
that I got Todd Young past Evan Bayh, which is just freaking crazy.
Yeah. So they took everybody for granted. That's my opinion.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're at the point now we probably need to move into final thoughts, Dakota. Clay, have you got anything else that you needed to plug? A chance for the MVP last chance with the special of the month for the
Well,
Boss
I'll
Hog
tell you
Liberty?
what. You come down to MVP Barber Shop, and I will give you the best haircut that I possibly can. I can't promise much, but I do my best for $12. It's like a $20 haircut. $8 off this month. $12.
If your barber's cutting your hair for less than $15, he's not only giving you a haircut, he's doing you a favor.
That's right. I'm a man of the people. I just want to do a good service to the people.
Just want to churn them through.
There you go.
And you're working on expanding too, right? You're trying to get some more chairs in there. Is there talk of it?
I would like to have.
Or you've got chairs. You just need barbers.
I've got space. Yeah, there's just not a lot of people walking around with a barber license.
Yep. Well, it's because it takes thousands of hours to become a barber in this state.
1,500.
One more thing, a future state representative or state senator ought to work on.
Yes.
Because it should be between me and the barber, not between me, the barber, and the state board of health.
I would love to see them do maybe a
I want
500-hour thing.
I want Clay to be able to give me straight razor shaves again.
And then there you go.
You're not allowed to?
Just on the neck.
You're not allowed to?
No, not on the face.
Why?
Because I can't believe I'm admitting this publicly, but
oh no, I've done it.
I'm a fake barber.
The secret's out.
Yeah, I have a cosmetology license.
Oh,
yes,
flamboyant about it.
So I can't do face shaves.
Yes. Interesting.
Yeah.
What is the difference?
It's not within the scope of my license.
Is there a difference in the amount of hours between a barber and
same. More and more, honestly, more and more as time goes on, it's becoming more and more of the same type of thing, except in practice.
I haven't seen his license hanging in there to see that he's a licensed
It's over by the coffee pot.
Oh, okay.
Go over by the coffee pot.
I don't get the tour in there like I used to. Yeah. I don't know.
I do need to hang it up, though.
Yeah, that's all right.
But it's over there.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
anybody can see it.
We appreciate you coming by and joining us.
I appreciate you being here. One last thing, just for Henry County folk, is I do get a little passionate when I come to budget issues. We will get through this year. My concern is just for our future. We need to pay attention to what's going on, and feel free to contact me, ask me questions. I'm more than happy to answer.
Yeah, you are one of the most accessible council members, for sure. You go to the barber shop and talk to you, or you do your Facebook Live videos after important things.
Haven't done it for a while, but I thought about doing it again.
Yep.
So.
All right. Well, very good. We appreciate you being here.
Thanks.
Dakota, have you got final thoughts for us? I know you've been working on the studio. You've got to plug that a little bit.
We're trying. I'm getting ready. I'm working this weekend. I'm working overtime tomorrow. I'm working over my Labor Day weekend and through my Labor Day holiday.
I hear a violin.
Yeah.
It's all for the greater good.
For the good of the podcast. All the money that I get on this overtime is going to have to go towards the studio, unless we can get people to come and donate so that I can actually enjoy my days off. But it doesn't look like it's happening, Jer. We only have $20 built up
so far. Sarah Potter has donated towards the cause, and we've had about 25 people share it, which is great.
Yep.
But we could use reaching into that hip pocket.
We've had about 30 post clicks. 30 people have clicked on the link to get to the GoFundMe page, but nobody has donated other than Sarah Potter.
Oh, I'm keeping her.
What have I done wrong? Did I write it really horribly? Did the description for why we need money look like it was written by HRC?
I'll tell you what, we do need to thank Christy Avery. We don't know what she's gotten us, but we did hear she got something off of the Amazon wish list as well.
Yeah.
So we'll find out what that is, I guess, in September when she comes back down next time.
And I keep looking at the Amazon wish list, and I'm like, I wonder what she got. Oh, was it the rug? Was it the lighting? Was it the foam paneling? It's like, oh, was it the camera? Did she get the camera or the table?
It's hard to know.
Nobody knows. All equally exciting.
Very cool. Well, I did kick in. I bought an guitar rig so that we can, at some point soon, whether it's in my house in our temporary studio or at the new studio over at the Davis place north of Q Avenue, we will have. We're going to be able to do some live streams with with an iPad and take this sound, and you'll be able to watch live, share from there, and then of course listen to the podcast in your car.
Yeah. Very exciting things happening to Boss Hog of Liberty.
All right.
Add me on Facebook if you haven't already, and donate to the GoFundMe page so I don't have to work through Labor Day.
Dakota at bosshogofliberty.com now.
Yep, that's my email.
There you go.
Wow.
So I've got a couple of quick little tidbits here as we're wrapping up. I want to give a shout out to the people at that have ruined PETA's Facebook filter. There's a PETA has a thing that animals are for selfies, not shooting, and I've seen it probably 20 times in the last day, and everyone has been somebody with something that they killed. It's been camo, and I've seen more dead deer and dead birds and dead big game from my friends, and they've absolutely been destroying.
I hope that is still around when squirrel hunting season comes.
I can't wait to get my first squirrel. Are you going to take me hunting and teach me? And
I'm going to take you hunting.
So much fun.
Are you going to hunt with a shotgun or a rifle?
I don't care. Shotgun, I'm much better with shotgun, I'm sure.
'Tis the season.
But if you want me to go rifle, I'll go rifle. It doesn't matter.
I usually hunt with a rifle. But the thing about a rifle is you can't miss.
Right.
Because it's going to go for a mile.
Right.
The woods are not that big.
Understand.
So probably take a 410. Yeah.
Yeah. So
don't want to kill a horse or something.
No kidding. Or a lake, somebody on the lake.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to point out is
someone bow fishing.
You know,
I'm sorry about that, but I thought it was important.
It's true. The bow fishermen need to be protected. Their rights have been trampled on enough. We don't need them to be accidentally be shot by a squirrel hunter.
If he had just been allowed to bow fish in Memorial Park, he wouldn't have been down there at Brookville.
He makes a fair point, ladies and gentlemen. The other item that I wanted to bring up was ESPN and their stupidity. We had this Charlottesville thing. Everybody's tearing down Robert Lee monuments.
We just talked about this when I got my haircut, didn't we?
And there's this fellow who appears to be of an Asian persuasion named Robert Lee, Lee. He does basketball and football, and he's a play-by-play guy for ESPN. And they politely said, "You're not going to call this game in Virginia. It's not safe for you, or we're not comfortable with it. We don't want you to be a target or a meme." Because that was, he was going to be he was going to be on ESPN 360, and nobody's even going to know who the hell his name was. Now they make this statement, and ESPN it looks like another satirical article. Robert Lee can't call the NFL or the NCAA game at Virginia because he has the same name as a guy that's been dead for 200 years. And by the way, he's an Asian. So just note that that's actually a true story, and just take stock. That's where we are now. That's the world we live in. So, but you're listening to this show, so you're doing something right. We appreciate all of the support, the listens. Like and share, subscribe. You can hit me up, Jeremiah at bosshogofliberty.com. And we really do have a lot planned coming up. Episode 19 next week, or we already have it programmed. Expecting Sean Rao, unless he gets in some trouble and can't come, or this show goes terribly and it ends Clay's career and Sean has to go protect himself. Episode 19, he's scheduled. So with that, we will see you all next time.
All right.
Thank you for listening to the We're Libertarians Network. Get our other shows at We'reLibertarians.com.